Hello and welcome to another Sprues and Brews unboxing video. In today's video, we have some pretty exciting releases to have a look at. So, I'm a massive Iron Jaws fan. It was my first sort of army for Age of Sigmar. Probably my most played army, but not recently because there's not been that many units to kind of cycle through, unless you want to play the big war. Well, with the Dawnbringer series, of which we're currently on book 2, there is a video separate to this one where we take a look at that in greater detail. But within that book, The Reign of the Brute, we get a load of exciting new Iron Jaws units, of which we're going to unbox in this particular video. So we've got the new Weirdboy Wreckers, which also build the Brute Rages. We've got the new Ardboss. We've got the new named character, Zogrok, with Clonk, the awesome looking squig. We've also got, finally, a new unit of Ardboys. These guys have been updated at long last. And finally, we've got the Tusk Boss on more Grunter, who also has a couple of alternative builds as well. So I've been really excited for these. It's great to see the Iron Jaws range get expanded. I hope they do the same with, say, the Fyreslayers and the Caradrons. I think those early Age of Sigmar armies were quite small, so it'd be good to see if Games Workshop will expand on them. Speaking of Games Workshop, thanks to GW for sending these to us to unbox and review, build, and hopefully paint in time for the end of this video. Look, I'm super keen to get these unboxed. So I think without further ado, let's go through each of these one by one and check them out in detail. So the first model we're going to unbox is the Ardboy Big Boss. Now check out this guy. So we actually got a sneak peek of this guy before the Nova Open preview. He's a new HQ choice for the Orruk War Clans. And he's the only one that comes in a clan pack. So let's get this open and check out his sprue. So here we go. Here is the Big Boss. And what a big guy he is. Quite a big piece there. Looks very straightforward to put together. Not too many parts at all. Looks like he just comes with the one head option. So no different parts to assemble this guy. So like I said at the beginning of the video, I'm not going to go through the rules in this one. Myself and Matt discuss it in the Dawnbringers review. However, this guy allows you to rally 2 units of Ardboys for the price of 1. And he's no slouch in combat, as you would imagine from an Iron Jaws Orruk. Here are his assembly instructions. So as you'd imagine, super straightforward to go together. Sadly, no different parts for this one, but he still looks very, very cool. And there he is again on the back. So great little cheap HQ unit for your Iron Jaws. Maybe you're thinking about starting a narrative path to glory. This guy might be the perfect leader for you. So yeah, let's move on to the next model. So the next model we're going to unbox is a special character, Zogrog Anvil Smasher and his squig buddy Clonk. This guy has had a bit of online feedback where people think he looks a bit boring. I just think he's quite cool. He's like a blacksmith orc. I mean, check out that blade he's got and the hammer, and of course Clonk. He does have an alternative weapon. He has these tongs, which are really cool. I can't remember right now the difference in that. One of them gets rid of ward saves, and the other one has a chance of doing mortal wounds. I can't remember which one's which at the moment, but like I say, links to the Dawnbringer review will be in the YouTube description and over on spruesandbrews.com. He looks awesome. Can't wait to get this guy painted. It's nice to have another named character as well, because there's not too many of them in the, at least the Iron Jaw side of things anyway. So of course we've got the bases, little and large, and then we've got the sprue. So again, I don't think we've got any choices on this one. It is a set build. That's not a terrible thing. Quite a wide sort of blade, isn't it, that one? That's like his the molten weapon that we see on him. A bit of Clonk there, bits of his armour. Very cool, very crisp detail. Flip that over for you. I really like the sort of blacksmith tools he's got going around his belt. Not something you would imagine an Orruk would be going to war wearing, but you know, Zogrog does. We've got his assembly instructions. So you've got the two variants there. When I was talking about obviously different parts, obviously you've got the two different weapons, but there's only one head choice and stuff on here. Looks quite straightforward to build. And then you've just got that one option there. He always has his hammer, but it's either whether or not you take his like cleaver sort of thing or his tongs. And Clonk's just literally made up of a couple of parts. I'm so glad that the Ironjawz have finally got a squig to call their own. I thought the Gloomspite had pinched them all, so that's great to see that they've got their own squig now. Let's move on to the next unboxing. So the next one we'll look at is the Weird Brute Wreckers. Now these guys are like Savage Aurochs on steroids. So they've ditched a lot of their armor, and these guys just want to charge headlong into the enemy and do some crumping. Especially the Weird Boys variant of these, where they're literally spewing green magic. So the shamans of the Aurochs stick these like masks on them. Try and get that to focus. To try and put them under some sort of control, end up just giving them these like chain flails to swing around. I've heard somebody call them fanatics, the fanatics equivalent from the Gloomspite. That's probably justified. Alternatively, you can build them as the Brute Rages, which are a slightly cheaper choice. Still very destructive. Don't get quite as many attacks, but they're still very, very cool. Both units can run and charge, which is very cool and very unique for the Aurochs. So let's get these guys unboxed. So as you would imagine, there's a couple of sprues for these ones. So let's take a quick look at sprue number 1. Straight away you can see some of the bonkers masks there. A big Gore, I think it's a Gore Hacker, isn't it? The two-handed one. Very cool. Plastic minis have come a long way. It's really awesome. The size of this sort of chain. Very cool. So that's the first sprue. We of course have the bases there, which we'll just put to one side. And then we have a second sprue with the rest of them on. Let's try and get it to focus. I'm actually filming this quite late on because it's been as hot as actually. So I've tried to pick the coolest part of the day to get this filming done. Excellent stuff. Just flip that round. I honestly, I'm so excited to get these built and to get some more. I've not played with my Ironjawz for ages. Bearing in mind, like the first Age of Sigmar army I built and painted. I remember doing them as part of a contrast challenge when they first came out. I've been super excited to get playing them again, but I just needed a reason to do that, and what better reason than a whole bunch of reinforced units. Let's have a look at the assembly instructions. So you get two different variants there, the Weird Boys and the Brutes. And then assembly. Obviously these guys don't have much in the way of armor compared to their Auroch Brute brothers. So I think these are a little bit more easier to assemble. The Weird Brutes. I think my first box is going to have to be these Weird Brutes because they just look fantastic. So good. Okay, obviously have a few different weapon options. So can that one, depending on what you want to field. And actually we've got some of the rules here for the Weird Boys. Again, check out our Dawnbringer review for a bit more detail. And actually, I've been meaning to mention throughout this video, if you don't plan on picking the Dawnbringer book up, but you want to pick up some of the new Ironjawz units, Games Workshop will be releasing on Warhammer Community a Battle Tome supplement for the Ironjawz. Hopefully that's out as you're watching this, but it'll probably when the army lands in a week's time, at the time of this video being released. You got the Brute Rages on the back there as well. which will be completely free to download, which is great. Okay, let's move on to the next video. The next box. We're getting there now. Just 2 more to go. Finally, after having the Black Orcs as an Hard Boys unit for the Iron Jaws for all this time, they finally got some brand new sculpts. And how amazing do these guys look? I love the chunky shields. Looks like you've got 2 different types of weapons that you can equip with these guys as well. They're a much needed improvement on the old Black Orcs. They did well for their time, but it's great to have these new guys. We've got a couple of different variants there for the boss, I assume, but we'll have a close look when we look at the assembly instructions. But yeah, these look beefy, proper in line with the rest of the Iron Jaws range. We've of course got the bases. And then we've got 3 sprues for these. So let's check out this first one. I mean, most of the body parts look like they're literally in 2 pieces, which is great. It looks like you do have, each of them I think can take either one of the long sort of staff-like weapons, or they can take the more traditional sort of cleavers. Let's spin that round. A few different head options. Yeah, great looking models. Move on to the second spray. Again, the bodies look like they're pretty much in 2 large parts, which makes for easier assembly. That's pretty cool. I'll flip that over. Yeah, I do like that weapon there. That's very cool. And then finally, the third sprue. These are like your normal battle line of the Aurochs, along with your brutes. Super, super cool. So they're the sprues. Let's have a quick look at the assembly instructions. Here we are. So again, some painted Aurochs on the front there. All usual instructions. You've got your, basically telling you got the 2 different weapon options. Looks like you build all the bodies first, as always, before you start getting to the weapon options. And then obviously you can choose them between the stickers or the choppers. I keep calling them cleavers, but you knew what I meant. And these are your other interchangeable parts. These are all your shields. Loads of different types of shields. And quite a few different heads there as well. And you've got your different champions. Standard bearer. And then putting them together. Yeah, nice straightforward kit. Love it. Fantastic. Yeah, they're like, aside from the one we're going to look at next, they were probably my second favourite Aura unit. Oh, saying that, I didn't really like the Weird Boys as well. We do have one more box to unbox. One more box to unbox. Let's check it out. And so we move on to the last box to check out, and that is the Tusk Boss on Morgrunter. Now, this one we saw a little while ago. I've been really keen to get my hands on this. Can't believe it's here, it's in my hand. So this can build one of 3 variants. You've of course got the Tusk Boss, who looks just simply awesome with that helmet, with his 2 hacking crew on the side of his big pig. And then you've also got the optional assembly of a Morgrunter with hacking crew. So that's also a HQ. It's not a HQ choice, just a normal troop choice. Or you've got the Gouger, who's just the guy on top with nobody on the sides. Now, if you take the Tusk Boss as your general, then you can take these ones, the Gougers, as battle line. So you could have an army of these guys, which is superb. And in the Dawnbringers book and the Battle Tome supplement, there is also an Army of Renown, which allows you to take well, it basically it tells you only to take these or your original Gore Grunters. So you're a little bit limited on the units you can take, but you get a load of cool new enhancements and rules, which are very, very cool. Again, I've said it multiple times. Check out the Dawnbringers review for more details on that. So let's get this final box unboxed and check out these sprues. So first of all, he comes on quite a large oval base. So pop that to one side. And he comes on 3 sprues. So here's the first one. Large part of your pig there. Looking quite angry. Big large pieces of armour. Different aurochs that go on him. Here's the other side of his head. A few weapon options. Let's spin that round. I can't wait to build this. Have a couple of these charge up the battlefield alongside a Maw-Krusha. What more could you want? Here's the second sprue. See, like mainly his legs. Look at the size of that axe. Nice. Very, very nice. I'll spin that over. Quite a few pieces, but I'm sure it's not going to be too bad to assemble. It's been a while since I built a complicated and annoying Warhammer miniature. And then finally got the other half of the pig. All the names are so similar, I keep getting them confused. This is the Maw Grunter. That's it. Maw Grunter, Gore Grunters, Maw-Krusha. Got it. It's like it's chain reins. Oh, look at that weapon as well. Oh, very cool. I haven't yet decided which one to build this as. I was going to build it as the middle one, the Maw Grunter with Hacking Crew. But the more I look at the helmet on that Tusk Boss, I'm very tempted to build him the same. I just thought I had quite a few HQ choices, but I might just have to do that. You'll see at the end of the video anyway. So that is the sprues. We'll just take a quick look at the assembly instructions. So it's explaining the different variants. Main part of building the pig. He looks pretty straightforward to do. Slapping on his armour. Looks like you can build the guy on top completely separate as well to make for easier painting. And you build your Hacking Crew there for the sides. And then you've got your 3 different versions of Tusk Boss, the Maw Grunter Hacking Crew or the Maw Grunter Gouges. And then it obviously goes into detail on how to build those. So it should be quite fun to paint because you're not having to rely on paint all as one big unit. And you've got the next build. And the final build, which is just the guy on top, which is the most straightforward of the assemblies on that one. And then you've got the rules. Again, these are just the basic rules. This guy can do quite a bit in combat, as you would expect from an Auroch. One of his really cool abilities is he has to gain momentum to hit better or to do more damage. So you kind of don't want him charging turn 1. You want to be building up, maybe ready for a turn 3 charge. Or turn 2 charge, depending on how well you roll. Because you're rolling D3s basically to see how much your momentum goes up as you move him and sort of run with him. So that's very cool. We've not seen that before in Age of Sigmar. Imagine slapping a War Chanter's beats onto this guy as well to increase his damage. He should be an awful lot of fun to play with. So a quick shout out for the pricing on this. We believe this particular kit is going to be around the $47.50 mark. The Ardboy Boss is around $22.50. Zogrog $27.50. The dual kit of Weird Brutes around £35. And I believe the Ardboy is going to be around that mark as well. But for now, that's them all unboxed. Now it's a case of getting them built and hopefully some paint on them, ready for this next transition to show off. So fingers crossed. And so some time has passed and it's time to see if I've managed to build and paint any of these new Iron Jaws models. And I'm pleased to say I have actually managed to paint one of them, and that is this guy, the Ardboy Big Boss. He was really easy to put together and a real joy to paint. He actually got selected to a Warhammer Community as well, which I was really, really proud of. Never had that before. I know Matt and Jay have both been on there, so super excited to have him featured. He's a really, really nice model and can't wait to use him in games. There will be a better picture of him over on the Sprues and Brews website as well. Next, we will check out the new special character. So I didn't get to paint this guy, but there he is, all assembled. I went for the tongs in the end, using him as a bit more of a support character, trying to give out those mortal wounds. But he was really cool to build, really easy to build, in fact. The only bit that was a tiny, tiny bit tricky was the kind of rock he stood on. It wasn't quite clear how he stood on it, but still, it was still a very easy build. So that is Zogrot, and of course, had to have a crack at painting his little buddy Clonk, who I've started, but he's still got quite a bit to go on him. He's literally like 2 parts from the easiest models I've ever built. But he's going to be really cool. Can't wait to finish painting him. We'll move on to the Brute Ragers next. I nearly built these as the Weird Boys or the Weird Brutes, but I decided to go for the Brute Ragers instead with the Brute Crushers. I just really like the sort of Crusher weapons. I quite like the masks, but I think these guys might be a bit more useful in my army. You might notice a bit of sort of glue damage on him. I had a bit of an incident putting him together. For those who do pick these guys up, the instructions show you to kind of build the top part first. You'll see when you start to build yours, the first 2 parts. I would actually glue the part in the middle with the left and right of him, and then glue the bit on top. You'll see what I mean when you come to the instructions. It's just, it caused a bit of an issue. But I know how I'm going to build the rest of these guys. But he's very, very cool. Leaping, ready to smash some unfortunate other being from the Age of Sigmar. So yeah, I'm hoping when I come to painting, that'll kind of go over the bit of damage I've done with paint there. Next up, we'll check out the Ardboy. So just managed to build one of these so far. The champion from the Ardboy unit. Again, hint for those people picking these up. I kind of built the first body, grabbed the champion weapon, and it's not the most ideal pose. I mean, it looks like it's kind of pointing forward and ordering his unit forward, but maybe I'd have preferred to have his arm up in the air. So try to do a lot of sort of dry fitting to find the right poses before you glue them together like I did. But he was really easy to build. The main body is literally 3 parts. The shield's made up of 2, and then just attach his weapon. So he was really, really easy. Really detailed models. I enjoyed building him a lot more than the Brute Rager. And finally, we've got this guy. I know this is probably the one a lot of you have been waiting for. It is the Tusk Boss. I did go for the boss in the end. I thought he's the first one I want to get, so let's build him as the boss. He was an absolute joy to put together. I'm trying to think if there was any bits that I didn't enjoy. There was a part of the instructions where it's the wrong way around. It was one small bit. It's quite obvious. Hopefully your copies won't be the same. But it was really clear where they'd made a slight error. But apart from that, especially the pig himself, all the parts, how they went together, were really straightforward. It all fit together so nicely. 2 hacking crew on either side of the pig there. Real nice substantial model as well. Cannot wait to paint him. And like I just said, when we look at the Ardboy, I will have images of these up on the Sprues and Brews website as well, with our Dawnbringer article and all the unboxings. But that brings me to the end of this video. Thank you for joining me for this unboxing and showcasing these new models. I'll be painting these up over the next few weeks, hopefully. And I can't wait to take them to the battlefield. Maybe take on Matt's Cities of Sigmar, or I believe he's got Trug, which you'll be able to check out on the Sprues and Brews website as well, and his Trog herd. So we'll have to see. But thanks for joining me. I hope to see you all again soon on the channel. And until then, happy hobbying.